Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. This is David.
This is Colin.
And huge news drop today, as you can see in our background here. The Star Wars Squadrons gameplay teaser trailer was released. Not necessarily gameplay, it's in-engine footage.
The actual gameplay is coming out on the 18th.
Right, it's going to be the EA Play event that they're going to have. And so first thoughts, what do you think?
Well, so this game is made by the same people that made Star Wars Battlefront 2, and there's a lot of people that don't like the I've noticed that there's not that many people that like to fly. So I thought this was a very bold choice by Lucasfilm and EA to do, because the actual game mode in Star Wars Battlefront 2, the actual play, there's not that many players that play that game mode because not that many people like to fly. So I think it's interesting that they chose this when there were a lot of other options for a Star Wars game. But from the trailer, it looks great. As we just saw, there was there was Wedge Antilles, so it would be awesome if Dennis Lawson came back, and then we also saw a cameo from Harrison Dula, and I'm just hoping the campaign is kind of longer. They've said we'll see new planets, some old, but I'm excited about it because if there's one thing I would do in Star Wars, it would be flying. So I'm super excited for it. How about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the exact opposite, I guess, from everyone because I love to fly in Battlefront 2. And I think we had a lot of fun doing that. And that's kind of the mode I always kind of gravitated to unless we played multiplayer and we played missions on the ground when we're soldiers. But
yeah, I mean, that and Ewok Hunt.
Yeah, we really got into that, didn't we?
We did.
But yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I mean, they're putting the emphasis on piloting and the fact that you can be on the Empire or be in the Rebellion. You can make that choice. And they did announce that there's not going to be microtransactions like before. You
right.
have to earn everything in game, and you have to put the time in to earn the stuff. So that should be pretty cool. And the price point is $40. So $20 cheaper than normal.
So which I'm kind of interested by, because of when they had SARS. When Star Wars Battlefront 2 launched, it was around 60, and when Jedi Fallen Order dropped, it was around 62. So I'm really curious of why the price is so low on it.
I think there's a couple theories out there. There's one theory that maybe this is kind of almost like just kind of a chunk of kind of an overall full price game, because I think people are going to see what they did with Battlefront and see that they could actually fly, and
right.
This is the whole game. It's just piloting, but I mean, it is touted as like a flight simulator because they hired people who lived and breathed in the flight simulation community, and it looks like you'll see all the buttons, knobs, and switches in the cockpits. So it should be pretty immersive. And they announced that, I guess unofficially announced, that you will be able to play this game in VR on the PS4 and on PC.
Which that is super exciting. Because for a Star Wars fan, it's like one thing of being on the battlefield and stuff, but having the actual feeling of looking around all over the cockpit and just seeing the battle and stuff going on, it's going to be so cool. If you guys have never done this before, there is the it's called The Void. Over at Disney and California. And you feel like you're there, like you move around, you feel like you're there, but you never actually get to fly anything. And now they are giving us that chance to do so. And I think that's going to be incredible. And right now, I have an Xbox. So this is wanting me to buy a PlayStation so I can play like in VR. And I don't know if they have announced if they're doing it online with VR, because that really is going to change the way that we play games, because if they are slowly starting to do cross-platform, they also announced that this game will be cross-platform. So it doesn't matter if you have an Xbox or a PS4. You can
So if
play.
you have an Xbox, you can play someone that has a PS4.
Right, which is awesome, because I've got some friends that have PS4s that don't have like the same console I do. So it's like,
Yeah, Joseph on the podcast. Yeah, I think he has a PlayStation, not an Xbox, so we can actually play with them finally.
right, and not just PS4, like also PC. So I'm super
Right.
excited for this.
So I
And,
think it's up to a team of 5.
yeah,
Hopefully they expand that and we get dozens of starships out there.
yeah. Well, so something that which I'm pulling up pictures right now because of they posted this earlier, but the like 4 ships as of right now for the New Republic. This game takes place after the Battle of Endor. For the New Republic side, they are going to have the U-wings, A-wings, X-wings, and Y-wings. And then for the Empire, of what's left of the Empire, is the TIE Fighter, the TIE Interceptor, the TIE Bomber, and then that one ship from Rogue One. I forget what that's called.
The TIE Reaper.
Yes, okay. And that's pretty cool, because if we never actually got to fly well, technically we did get to fly a U-wing in the first Star Wars Battlefront that EA did back in 2015, but the update for Scarab didn't come out until 2016, because that's when Rogue One came out. And we got to fly it, but we never got to look inside to fly it from the cockpit view. And then we never got to fly the TIE Reaper either. So I'm super excited to do that. And it's going to be so cool to do it in VR, because there's a lot of people that dream of being a Jedi and, of being a Sith and being on the ground and stuff. But flying a ship, like, it's called Star Wars, so it's like the star. I mean, like, it's going to be awesome to feel really immersed into it. And if you have that chance to go to Disney when, things kind of cool down and when it reopens, I suggest going on Smuggler's Run, because that's like the real experience of like actually being behind the ship. But I feel like this is going to be more immersive because you'll be able to do more. So I'm super excited. Super excited.
Yeah, ever since I was little and watched Star Wars, I always pretended like I was in a space battle. And this is just like an extension of what we got in Battlefront 2, and to actually have a game concentrated on dogfighting, on just being in starships. I mean, that's, for me, it's great. I know you said that there's people out there that didn't play that game mode as much. I played it a lot.
Right, same here.
Not until we played together. I kind of stopped and played more ground missions.
Yeah.
But the interesting facts are that it's coming out October 2nd. There's cross-play enablement, and there's no microtransactions.
It was really nice.
And
there will be
it's on all the current consoles and PC.
Yeah. The customizations is something that really caught my eye, because I think that's something that was lacking in Battlefront 2. You could kind of change the way that your soldier looked, but at the same time, it wasn't that full customization that we hoped for. So in this game, they announced that you will be able to customize your ship and your actual pilots. Mm-hmm. And something that's great is that I'm super excited for this, is that for the campaign, you can play the light side of the campaign and then the dark side of the campaign. And we still have no idea when this is actually taking place in the timeline. We have no idea if this is happening like directly after the Battle of Endor, or if this is happening after the of the Battle of Jakku, or maybe it happens during the actual during the Battle of Jakku, and we might see like Jyn Erso when they're like from that campaign, or this might tie in into the Mandalorian, and then we go on a mission with Dave Filoni's character, and then they go in and blow up that space station. Like, we have no idea of when this is taking place in the timeline, so I'm kind of interested to see of where that actually takes place. Because
they said after Return of the Jedi, but specifically like how many years or months after the Battle of Endor, don't really know. But I think there was an outlet that did talk about how you're going to go pretty much from the Battle of Endor right after all the way up into the New Republic era stuff. So it should span a good ways. And of course, we saw what looks to be Wedge and then Hera at that war table.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll get some connective tissue there. And hopefully they got Dennis Lawson to voice Wedge. That would be pretty cool.
I mean, to be honest, that would make sense, because if he came back for that small cameo in The Rise of Skywalker, so it would just make sense if, like, well, actually, maybe the time that he did The Rise of Skywalker, maybe he came in and recorded the stuff for this game. So,
yeah, it's totally possible. But yeah, we see Hera.
Yeah.
And I totally missed her the first go around, but she's back there.
Right.
And there's a Mon Cal right next to right next to Hera. And what other Easter eggs did you notice?
Well, during this time, I was just thinking about this, is that it would be a missed opportunity if we didn't see Admiral Akbar, because during this time he's still alive.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
So, okay, for the Empire, where it goes to, it shows that hologram scene of where the TIE pilots are looking at it. I'm trying to think of where that is in this video, but they are looking at a higher up in the. Hang on, he's pointing. It's probably towards the beginning. Just kind of go down the line. But in that scene, we see, yep, just keep going. In that scene, right there. Okay. There was a new book coming out. I can't think the name of it, but that person talking on screen kind of looks like the person on the cover of the book, because that's like the next, I'm not sure of where in the timeline that those books about the pilots. I have no idea what it's called. We like talked about it in a podcast a while ago, but I'm not sure.
Alphabet Squadron?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought those already came out.
Not the second one.
Not the second one.
Yeah, the second book is coming up, but there is someone on the cover of that book that kind of looks like that character. I'm probably wrong.
Okay.
But I guarantee there will probably be some Alphabet Squadron, some Easter eggs in this game for sure. And if Han Solo doesn't show up at one point, or Lando, that's a missed opportunity. Billy D. Williams came back and voiced Lando for Star Wars Battlefront 2. So I bet he's game to come back and voice him again.
So yeah, right there is the TIE Reaper that they're walking up to.
Yep, and we saw that first in Rogue One.
Right.
I'm super excited to customize the pilots and our ships. I'm super excited for that. I'm hoping that eventually that they will unlock the hero type ships. So then, eventually we'll be able to fly the Falcon and possibly the Ghost. I think flying the Ghost would be pretty cool.
Yeah, Hera's there.
Yeah, so that right there is a huge possibility, because if my memory is correct, there was the old game, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, that was for not the GameCube, right? Or yeah.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron was for
Okay.
GameCube, yeah.
And you could play like a bunch of different ships, like from the X-wing and stuff to hero ships. So I love that game. So I would love to see that element come in here, because there's a bunch of ships that would be awesome to look inside the cockpit, from the Shadows of the Empire, like Dash Rendar and the Outrider, like those type of ships. And I feel like that would be pretty cool to see. I think one ship that I would love to see in this game would be the B-Wing, because if we've seen that ship in Episode 6, and then we saw it in The Rise of Skywalker, and that ship we mainly see in Legends and stuff. But I really want, I mean, and we've seen in the first Battlefront that EA did like out and flying, but we never actually got to fly it. So I'm hoping that we get that chance to fly that ship in this game when there's an update or something like that. Because there's, like I said, there's so many ships, and it would be so cool to just go through them and like be in VR. And I think playing this in VR is just going to be nuts, especially if you're playing online.
Yeah, I think the VR aspect is very underrated, and there's a big barrier to entry due to the price points. For Oculus, if you want to get the high-end Oculus, it's like $700 or something.
Right. So it would be easier to probably get the PS4, the PS5, and then get the VR stuff.
Yeah, it might be. But then again, if you get Oculus, you can play Vader Immortal. So
well, they are adding Vader Immortal to the PS4 this fall.
Okay. But they're also adding a new game, a Resistance game, I believe, on VR.
That's kind of based off Galaxy's Edge, right?
No, I don't think quite well.
Because
you know what? I think you're right. I keep on thinking about the Void. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So I think it might be worth it here pretty soon to kind of invest into a VR headset. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it seems like Lucasfilm, Disney's moving ahead with it, and I mean, we're kind of like on the precipice, really, you know. So
yeah.
I think if I can save the money, I'm probably going to attempt it, because I know we have the podcast and we kind of have to know about certain things. So I'm going to try and aim for it maybe by end of year.
Okay.
So, yeah. There was other huge news that came out. Were you going to say something else in regards to the game?
Well, for me, because I've been playing Xbox for so long, but I feel like that's more for like playing the multiplayer games. I feel like for PS4 they've got more of those. I feel like PlayStation has better single player games in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So I would probably end up buying the PS5, and then I would like probably get. I would get the new Spider-Man game coming out. I would probably get. Some of the like the game Uncharted. There's like so many single plays for the PlayStation, so it just depends on what your reference is. But I'm excited because it's cross-platform. So not all my friends have Xboxes, so it's going to be nice to have that kind of be like, oh hey, let's all play when you normally can't play with them. So I'm super excited for the cross-platform, but I will probably buy PS5 for the VR stuff for sure, because then I can play Vader Immortal and all those other games.
Yeah, it feels as time goes by, it's going to be worth the investment to actually like buy one of those VR headsets.
Agreed. But in other news, which is kind of big, Celebration got canceled.
Yeah, we finally got the news, and yeah, I think we were all kind of expecting it, but
yeah,
to have the finality of it's been canceled / postponed to the year 2022.
Yeah, I would say it just stinks that it got canceled months before, when San Diego Comic-Con got canceled like in the beginning of the year. So it's just it's just that interesting kind of time that they chose to do it. But I think one reason why they chose it is because of 2021 was probably booked for a lot of events, and they weren't planning on doing it Anaheim. They were probably planning on moving into a different location. So then when they were told that this year's celebration would be canceled, they were probably trying to find a different location to happen again next year. But then everything was booked, and they were like, okay, well, let's move to 2022. And then, like, I think you said this, but it's going to be the 20-year anniversary of
the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones.
Yep. So I guess it works out, which I feel like if Star Wars Celebration happened this year, it would have been cool, but at the same time, you wouldn't feel that same vibe that we felt during the 2019 celebration in Chicago. And I think 2022, there's going to be more stuff happening, because of number one, the new trilogy will be coming out by Taka Waititi, and hopefully Kenobi will also be there, and will probably be on season 4 of The Mandalorian. And there will probably be a new Star Wars game, and the Cassian show. I feel like there will be more happening there than what would have happened if we had Celebration this year.
Yeah, my head immediately went to, okay, so they've picked 2022. Why 2022? And of course, the new film's coming out, like you said.
Yep.
But it feels like they're looking at what health professionals are talking about recently and saying that this like social distancing and everything that's going on could last till well into next year as well. So that's another thing you have to take into account. This thing has to kind of really blow over to get the full standard traditional celebration experience. So hopefully in 2 years, this thing is kind of done with, and we can go back to the normal celebrating.
As long as people keep, following the rules, and especially with the parks like reopening right now, it's going to be really interesting to see if they actually stay open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping they stay open because I got a job there. So, but hopefully they stay open and we can keep moving forward as long as people follow the guidelines to being safe during these times. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so that news dropped right after the Star Wars Squadrons trailer dropped.
Right.
And then I was thinking, okay, well, if Celebration's done with for this year, I can still travel over there and go to Star Wars Night at Disneyland. But then about an hour later, they announced that no, Star Wars Night has been postponed as well. So I don't think I'll be traveling to California this year at all.
But you can still visit me if the parks stay open.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge yet. I know you have, James has, and Brooke has.
And also Nicole.
She has too?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
So that just leaves me, Joseph,
and Matt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the majority of the podcast has been to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was totally planning on spending my money there as opposed to Celebration. But yeah, like you said, if Disney World stays open, I might go visit you and get my Galaxy's Edge experience this year, because I'm now kind of regretting that I didn't do Galaxy's Edge when it opened. I know it was crazy. I had a moment there where I was like, I want to be there opening day and just camp out and have that experience, but then I kind of decided against it. But
yeah, I mean, when it first opened, I just knew it was going to be nuts. So I'm kind of glad that we waited to go. I know James when I think it was just a couple of months like after it was still crazy. So I think the time that we went, and for people in the future, going to Galaxy's Edge, go during the off season where it's just after like the holidays, but right before spring break. That's the perfect time to go, because people are done with that. They are done spending money for a bit because the holidays are done, and you've got that kind of time gap before people for spring break, want to be like, I want to go somewhere hot. I want to celebrate Star Wars. Let's go to Disneyland. Let's go to Disney World. So that like time frame is like perfect to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I might go to something Star Wars related this year. If you're in Orlando and it's cool to come visit,
yeah,
I definitely might want to do that.
Do it.
So 3 big stories today.
Well, there was also the I know that Ahmed Best got a new character for the show that's on Wikipedia now. I'm not sure if that happened today or that was old news, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's officially in Wikipedia as Kelleran Beck.
Yeah.
And Joseph and I, we talked about that on the podcast today that we released in the morning. And it's awesome. And I talked about how I've always wanted Ahmed Best back doing something Star Wars. And they gave him creative freedom in the show too, to like drop Easter eggs and come up with his character, design his lightsaber.
Yeah, his character is related to the cameo that he made in Attack of the Clones, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. We watched the first episode of it, and I didn't know that they were dropping a bunch of episodes. I thought they were going to do like a new episode per week, so I saw that they dropped the other ones, so I guess we're going to have to sit down and watch those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're coming out every week.
Okay.
So, yeah, out on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
And it's not on Disney Plus.
Second episode on there, so I wasn't sure if all of them were dropped.
Yeah. And they're entertaining. I mean, it makes me feel like I was born too soon.
Yeah.
Born later. Because it's like, man, everyone's getting these like TV shows now, and they have an entire 9-film trilogy series to watch.
This really is like a great time to be a Star Wars fan as a kid, because of if you were introduced to Star Wars as a kid to Force Awakens, and then you got all this hype happening, it would be so cool. Like, I mean, I love being a Star Wars fan now, but I'm just thinking about when I was a kid and I first watched Star Wars. I mean, I think my first movie it was A New Hope. I watched it, and then my aunt was like, do you want to watch the next one? I was like, there's more? And and back then, you know, more was episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that was it.
Right.
Now we have a bunch of content that would take us more than a year to, you know, watch, because there's so much now and there's so many books, and it's just crazy on how much content there is. And now if you actually want to be in the Star Wars universe, you go to a planet now over at Disney World and Disneyland. Like it's crazy how expanded like Star Wars is. And it's crazy of when I was a kid and when you were a kid. So it's just crazy, and it's a great time to be someone that's just getting into Star Wars now, because there's so much content and so much stuff to do. And it's awesome.
I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Rogue One, Solo,
Mandalorian,
Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian, soon to be Cassian series, Obi-Wan series.
Oh my gosh.
Probably an Ahsoka series, probably a Thrawn series.
Hopefully a Matt Grebo series.
Maybe. Anything's possible, right?
Yeah. Yep. So and then
the High Republic that's coming out.
That was supposed, I mean, that getting moved to January, of the first couple of books getting moved to January, that was kind of our first hint that Star Wars Celebration was going to get canceled, because of those were supposed to be a big part of Celebration. Mm-hmm. So when they canceled that, I was like, I thought that was supposed to be a main panel. So it's nice that everything's kind of moved up, which means more content will drop, but at the same time it stinks, because I know there were a lot of people looking forward to Celebration this year.
Yeah, and I think it's also good that drops after The Mandalorian Season 2 ends.
Yeah.
Because the whole world is going to be talking about Season 2, and if it's as epic as Giancarlo Esposito says, and then Sam Witwer says, we're in for something game-changing maybe in the Star Wars universe. Maybe...
You're talking about the books or talking about the Season 2?
No, I'm talking about Season 2.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, the books are that good?
Well,
okay.
I mean, everyone in the world is watching The Mandalorian, and everyone is expecting an encore in Season 2, and expecting new stuff from Baby Yoda, and expecting his name to be revealed.
Yep.
And we're all now expecting Ahsoka to show up.
Right,
and maybe other characters that Dave Filoni is very close with.
It's going to be interesting, because of it looks like there's a big list of characters that will be returning to the Star Wars universe, and I just hope that they don't overdo it, because of I read somewhere that Cal Kestis might show up, and I'm just like, I love that, but at the same time, I want the Mandalorian still to be the Mandalorian. I don't want it to be the host of these characters that we've seen before. So I'm hoping that it's not overly fan favoritism. I'm probably wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and Filoni and Favreau, I trust. I don't think they'll lead us astray. I mean, they gave us the Mandalorian, and they have. Filoni especially has the most in-depth knowledge on how to make Star Wars work. And I believe he's directed again, and they have a new set of directors, and Robert Rodriguez, and then Carl Weathers is directing. So it's exciting, man. It almost feels like another one of those gulfs of time where we're kind of anticipating something really big, like right before episode 1, right before episode 7.
Yeah.
Now it's like we're right, because I think not everyone was on board with the Mandalorian Season 1 before it premiered.
Right.
There's a lot of skepticism, but now it's like we got that first season, and it was a hit all the way around. And now it seems like they're going to turn up the energy, make it faster and more intense, it seems like. And, I mean, once we get that trailer, we get that Season 2 trailer, I'm predicting it now, they're going to drop it August 27th, the date that we were supposed to be at Celebration.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I'm just trying. I mean, because of it's coming out in October, but we don't know when in October. I'm hoping that it's happening in the beginning. I think that would be nice. We could possibly get a Force Friday again for October because the new game is coming out.
Squadrons.
Yep, because the game's coming out, and then I think if because they haven't announced of when Star Wars Lego is coming out. I know it's supposed to happen this year, but we don't know when. So if it happens in October too, there you go. You got
most likely holiday season.
Yeah. Yeah. So it
and
would
then
be
possibly High Republic merchandise.
True.
If they want to go that far.
Yeah. The first books are coming out in January, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, they can release like action figures and other side things.
Yeah. I remember when all the Black Series went on sale and all of it sold out like real quick, especially all the characters from Star Wars Rebels, like all those were gone. I got lucky and I got the Beskar, like of the Mandalorian. I got that one. I think you got a couple of them, right?
Yeah, I bought several of them. And then after going to the official site, I went to Dorkside Toys where we purchased the Boba Fett helmet.
Right.
And they had a whole like setup of pre-orders that were still available. So I think I bought some there too. I can't even remember anymore. I think I bought a Zeb. I bought a Ahsoka. I bought all the ones that were on the Pulse official site.
Right. Something great about Star Wars Celebration being moved is that now, and I think James said this in our group chat, is that now we have more time to save up for Celebration.
Yeah, definitely. We have more time to plan.
Yeah.
More time to kind of fine tune the podcast as well.
Yeah. And hopefully by then we can get on the podcast stage, and that would be really cool.
Yeah, and that was the other thing too. We applied for the podcast stage, and I don't think anyone got any feedback or any notice. So that was kind of another sign that Celebration was probably not happening.
Right.
And someone a long time ago, actually, I don't know if it's true or not, but they said they had a family member at ReedPop, and that family member communicated to them that, it wasn't going to happen, but they were just waiting for whatever reason to make that announcement. But ReedPop is in charge of many conventions, and they canceled all of them except for Celebration, and that was kind of weird.
Right.
But, yeah, everything's been canceled as far as conventions goes for this year, it seems. So it's just kind of a sit-out year, and fortunately we have technology. We can Zoom.
Yeah.
So you're in Michigan, I'm in Texas. So it's a very strange time right now.
It really is a strange time. I know that there are some restaurants opening up and the salons and everything. It's great. I'm hoping that people don't forget that just because of the restrictions are lifted doesn't mean that doesn't mean to wear a mask or anything. Like, just everyone be safe. Be like, the more that we're following the safety protocols, the faster that this will go away. So, and especially if you're going to big places like Disney World and Disneyland and Universal and all those, because it's going to be interesting to see that those first couple of weeks and when they open, to see if people actually do follow the rules. Hopefully.
Well, Disneyland, Disney World, they're going to open up at like 25% capacity, right?
Right. And I've seen people at Universal, and it looks like everyone's been wearing a mask, and and
I think the requirement is that people have to wear masks. Correct.
Right, but there's not always going to be cast members like standing right next to you to make sure you wear a mask. Like
right.
And,
There's going to be a certain amount of accountability people are going to have.
right, and kids won't fully understand if kids actually go, and they'll probably be super hot and they'll be like, I don't want to wear this, and the parents are going to be like, yeah, you have to, or we'll get kicked out. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes when everything reopens. But I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the three big stories: Star Wars Squadrons, the teaser trailer for that, then Celebration being postponed / canceled, and then Star Wars Disney Land, Star Wars Night.
I'm starting a GoFundMe for my fan film I'm doing. It's called Max Rebo Lives. Takes place after episode 6. He survives the sail barge, and then he starts his own band and everything. I won't go because I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah.
I might contribute a few dollars.
Do it, please. Do it, please. I will have you as a cameo for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, how cool would it be if when Boba Fett shows up in The Mandalorian, and then Max Rebo is like his baby Yoda, and then he peeks out behind him?
Or maybe Max Rebo's kid.
Oh, that would be so cool. Oh.
Or he's carrying an egg around,
and
he's trying to protect it from the Jawas.
Yeah.
And then it's actually a little blue elephant guy.
Oh, that would be so cool. I was thinking about this in The Mandalorian season 2. Because of that picture that Jon Favreau posted of when season 1 got done, the last episode dropped, then he dropped that teaser for season 2, and it was the Gamorrean guard.
Yeah.
Armor or anything. I was like, how cool would it be to have some of the species from episode 6 and then see the Max Rebo species in there? Oh my gosh, it'd be so cool.
So yeah, I was thinking about it, and once Return of the Jedi ends, there's about 4 or 5 years and The Mandalorian starts. The question is, who takes over Jabba's palace? Was it possibly maybe Cobb Vanth wearing Boba Fett's armor, impersonating Boba Fett? But I know there's canon stuff in Chuck Wendig's novels about Cobb Vanth being the sheriff of that one town in Tatooine. But who's running Jabba's palace? Who picked up that role of the gangster of Tatooine? Or do you have to be a Hutt to be in charge? I don't know.
If
maybe a relative of Jabba?
Well, if Boba Fett shows up, I would love to see I would love to see some of the other bounty hunters like Bosk and IG-88, because in Legends they actually do team up with Boba Fett going back. So it would be pretty cool to see some of those old bounty hunters, because I know for a while when Disney got the rights to Star Wars, a lot of people wanted to do a show of bounty hunters where it had Dengar and Boba Fett and Forlom and all those classic bounty hunters. So it'd be cool to see a cameo from Bosk or something in there.
Well, yeah, Disney wanted to do it too. They wanted Josh Trank to do a Boba Fett film.
Yeah,
and it was probably gonna have Dengar, Forlom, Zuckuss, and Bosk, and we got a Bosk mention in Solo.
Yeah,
if the bounty hunter stuff goes over well in The Mandalorian season 2, Boba Fett goes over well, we might just get that film. And from all accounts, it seemed like we were going to get that film, but when the Solo box office returns happened, they put the kibosh on Obi-Wan as a film, and then the Boba Fett bounty hunter project. So it was weird circumstances there too, because you already had 2 huge movies happening in that time frame, and to have a third, it still made a lot of money, even though it was the most underperforming box office Star Wars film, but it still made enough money for any other franchise to grant a sequel to it. And then you have the Solo 2 movement happening, And I think Lucasfilm saw that there was a real kind of push for that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Solo 2 as a film. We would all enjoy a series.
Oh, yeah.
And in the form of maybe Crimson Dawn. I mean, it's
Crimson Dawn, I think, would be a great idea. When May 25th came around and people were talking about, like, make Solo 2 happen, I agree with that. But at the same time, I think it would be great to add that element of Solo 2 into Crimson Dawn instead of Solo 2, because for Solo 2, I'm for it, but I think that the main things that would happen in that would be seeing them have a different adventure, and then them going and him dropping the spice, and then that's why they talk about in episode 4. So I think if we had the Crimson Dawn element and then Han and Chewie show up in that, I think that would be really cool. But I don't know if Solo 2 could hold its own, and I don't think that. I mean, because of a lot of people didn't like Solo. Number one, because of what happened with The Last Jedi. Like, that really hit the box office pretty hard, and a lot of people were, boycotting Star Wars for that part, and I don't know why, because Solo was awesome. But I don't know if Solo 2 would hold up as a Crimson Dawn show would, because I think people love that kind of dark element, and I think seeing more of the underworld, and then having Han and Chewie in it, I think that would be pretty cool. But I don't know if a Solo 2 movie would hold up. Like a show maybe, but I don't know if a movie would.
Yeah, I totally agree. When you talk it out about having a Crimson Dawn TV show, I mean, it almost writes itself. I mean, you bring back Emilia Clarke, you can bring back Darth Maul,
right?
A huge fan favorite, and then you can bring back Donald Glover as Lando. He was a fan favorite.
Yeah,
and then you could explore the underworld more. And right before Disney purchased Lucasfilm, LucasArts was developing a game called 1313, which explored the underworld of Coruscant. And I know Ahsoka Tano ended up on that same level in one of the Clone Wars episodes. And I mean, it just all it writes itself, man. I mean, the stuff is all there. There's so much material and there's so much time to explore that we've never explored. While Maul was like the boss of Crimson Dawn, and we get more Maul stuff, and it's right there. To me, it's the next thing that they can do and actually capitalize on. And hopefully that Solo 2, huge social media push for it, and the fact it was trending, hopefully that gives Lucasfilm Disney more kind of onus to create something around that.
Right. To be honest, something that I would love to see because we've actually never seen it in canon version, is after the Empire, after the Empire kind of falls after the Battle of Endor, Han and Chewie go and save the Wookiees from Kashyyyk. I would love to see that in some element in canon, like in a video game or a book, movie, a show, something. But I think that would be pretty cool. I think if they showed that, and because of something that I'm kind of predicting is that we might see Chewie and the Mandalorian possibly. I think that is it. I mean, because of the actor who plays Chewie now, I can't say his last name, but
Jonas Swatamo.
Yeah, he's really into the character, and he's a big part of the community. And there's no reason why that he would stop playing Chewie if the opportunity didn't come to him. So it would be awesome to see Chewie and the Mandalorian in some way, like if they end up running into the people from the New Republic or something like that. I think it would be a cool element. Being like, oh my gosh, look at Chewie. Like, I don't want Chewie to be a main part of the series, but I think like a cameo would be pretty cool. And then they're like, we can't stay. We're actually going to the planet of Kashyyyk to save my people or something like that. I think that element would be cool to see.
Yeah, I think the actor that plays Chewie now in all the films and possibly TV shows, Jonas Swatamo, I think he's really embraced the role just like Peter Mayhew did.
Yeah.
And it's like he's Chewie for a life now, you know? And he's
Yeah.
a good guy. He's well-spoken. He's from somewhere in Scandinavia. He used to play basketball at Penn State.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I would say she's a really nice guy. I met him.
And he does the convention circuit.
Yeah, he does.
He was going to be down here in South Texas, but I think he had to cancel because he had something to do for Lucasfilm that popped up. But I know I believe he's been to a Dallas convention. And yeah, I definitely want to meet him here in Texas. Hopefully he does something here close by. And yeah, there's something. I think there's Celebrity Fan Fest in San Antonio.
Yeah,
and there's a convention in McAllen, which is like on the border of Texas and Mexico. And then of course all the Dallas stuff, and there's Houston stuff as well. And there's our 501st brethren is everywhere as well, all in the state. So
yeah,
always something happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say I met him at Motor City Comic Con last year. Around this time actually, and he's a tall dude. Like he's
6'10".
Yeah, and and
he's 8 inches taller than you, right?
Yeah, and I'm 6'2", so like I saw him and I looked up and I was like, dang. I was like, all right, this is Chewie. So yeah, no, it's I was gonna say I love celebrities that are really into the roles. Like for example, Dominic Pace is a perfect example. He like had a cameo, and I saw that he's got a bunch of merchandise and all that, and he's like in the show like for like maybe a minute or so. But it's so cool to see these actors like fully embrace their roles. It's awesome. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, Dominic Pace, I think he, even more so than Jonas, is so into Star Wars and so into his character. And hopefully, like he said on our podcast when he was on it, hopefully Lucasfilm does recognize that and see that fans do want him back in some capacity. And of course, it seems like the bounty hunter market is kind of skyrocketing now, so it's like, I mean, he could possibly be in season 2 and maybe play a key role. And I think there's a lot of kind of speculation because at the end it looked like he may have died, but it feels like Dominic didn't say precisely what happened, but it feels like he kind of gave a wink to the camera, so I think he's still around.
Because I was gonna ask that if like he did like a hint or something like that, saying that he was like he's gonna be in season 2 or something like that.
I don't think he actually knows. I think I heard him say something along those lines. But
I mean, you would think that he would know, like if he filmed something.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'm thinking about a different, because he's done a ton of interviews. And I've read a lot of them, listened to a lot of them, but I think that's something he can't disclose if he was, and that might have just been his canned answer saying, I don't know. Because I think a lot of people aren't quite aware that The Mandalorian is already shot and is already wrapped and it's in post right now, because you constantly see these, this person has just been cast. And it's like, well, if they're going to be in the show, they were actually cast months ago, and like the Michael Biehn cast, and then the possible Sasha Banks casting, and it's who else did, the Timothy Oliphant casting. It's like, his stuff is done. If he's in it, he's been done for a while now.
Right. For Grand Rapids Comic Con this year, there's like 5 Star Wars actors coming. 4 of them are from The Mandalorian, and then Daniel Logan is coming as well. So that's pretty cool. I've met him twice, and he's a really nice guy. So I'm gonna send him I'm gonna send his agent a message to see if we can set up a meeting because I'll be flying back for that because that's in my hometown and it'll be perfect. So it'll be nice to fly back and be cold for like a weekend.
Yeah, if you go to his Instagram account, he took a picture of all these 40th anniversary Boba Fett helmets that he signed.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to say it's like 100 of those helmets just stacked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean he's another person that really embraces Star Wars and is happy to do whatever Star Wars related. And I love those actors. I love those people that have been in Star Wars. You know them, and they always come back, and they always want to tell stories. They also want to share their experiences, and they're fans like you and me, and everyone listening and watching us.
Well, I mean, not to brag or anything, but I was in a Star Wars fan film, and I got shot in the face as a stormtrooper, and that was probably like, I mean, that experience was pretty cool of just to see like a bunch of stormtroopers like running around, and then like an actual film camera coming down. That was so cool. So something else that's great about Star Wars is the fan films, because there's a lot of fan films and fan edits that sometimes you wish were canon because they're that good.
Yeah, I keep on saying it that I think in the next decade we're gonna get a fan film that rivals what Lucasfilm can produce.
Right.
And I really feel like, I mean, sometimes I think I might have some type of involvement in that because all my life I felt like I wanted to create a film, and I know how ridiculously hard it is to make a film, but we have so many people in the 501st that have screen accurate costumes.
Right.
And there's so many of us now. It's like, it wouldn't be that hard to cast. And some of those fan films out there look really, really good. They're right on the edge.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of, I don't know, there's just a little bit further they need to go to make it seem like it was something created by Lucasfilm. It's almost like an uncanny valley aspect.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit better special effects, a little bit better like starfighter action, and they're there.
Fan film coming out called, which I guess is going to be like a show, but like it's called Bucketheads. That like first one that like came out a couple of years back. It's a 13 or 14 minute video. It's of it's a couple of stormtroopers. It's like a squad of stormtroopers, and it felt like an actual TV show. It was like, oh, this is so cool. And now the people who made that dropped the trailer for it, and it's supposed to be something like the Vader fan film series that Star Wars Theory is doing. But it's, in my opinion, it's pretty cool because it's stormtroopers, and it's got that war element, but it feels like it's comedy. And I feel like a show like that on Disney Plus would probably do pretty good because, you know, so many people love stormtroopers, and that scene and the last episode of The Mandalorian of where the scout troopers are shooting and they're missing on purpose. Like that's just making fun of themselves, and that's so cool. And from that first episode that these people dropped, it kind of had that element. It was really cool. So Star Wars fan films, they're awesome. They're awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of dream about it, that we're gonna get something in the next 10 years that's gonna be like, it's gonna explode on the internet, or we're all gonna be talking about it. And I kind of wonder if once we start getting these like high-end fan films, I mean, what is Lucasfilm, what is Disney going to do about that? Are they going to accept them? Are they going to be like, well, these fans followed all the rules of canon.
Right.
What if we just make it canon?
Yeah, there. I mean,
That would be the ultimate achievement, I think, in fandom. Without being an employee of Lucasfilm or Disney, and creating something that Lucasfilm accepts as canon.
oh man, because of I think his name is Battlefront Captures, but he's got this motion capture stuff, and he's been dropping some like new stuff, and it looks really good. And I'm thinking, like you said, maybe 10 years down the road, they could totally do the script that was supposed to be episode 9, Duel of Fates, like do that script, but as a fan film. Somebody tried doing it, but the animation was just too much work to do. But I feel like 10 years down the line, with like the technology upgrading all the time, I feel like it would be a lot simpler. Because that's exactly what George Lucas did. He like waited until technology like catched
Yeah.
and then he made the prequels. So that's what probably some fans will probably do and be like, okay, well, now's our time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought of I thought of what if fans make a film where it's at the tail end of the Battle of Endor, the second Death Star explodes, and you see stormtroopers escaping in the woods, being chased by Ewoks, and like the last kind of set of stormtroopers that survived the great barbecue of
That
stormtroopers.
was do you remember that fan film?
Essentially Ewok Hunt.
Yeah. That was the script I made. I still have the full script, but we never filmed it. And I think I made a commander named after you. He doesn't live, but he makes a cameo. But my friends in the 501st were like, "Oh yeah, like we're totally down to do that." And I found like a location, everything, but I never found a camera crew and I never got the funds. But someday in the future, it'd be really cool to do that because I think having that would be awesome because it would be funny, but at the same time, you would also have that that kind of scary movie concept to it because they're like running and then you're like you're in battle, but then there's the Ewoks and to the stormtroopers, the Ewoks are the bad guys, and it would be really cool to do a fan film like that. And
that film totally has to be made.
Yeah,
your script has to be.
I know.
Like final drafted, then perfected, and then shot out. I mean, you'll be in Florida, so maybe like somewhere in Georgia, like Walking Dead territory, where they shoot that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to Atlanta last year, the guys in Atlanta were like so welcoming, and they seem like they're down for anything. And I think that's a possible avenue you could take.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would take. But it feels like the 501st is the way to go for this because super passionate Star Wars fans, they have the armor already.
Exactly.
So that takes care of a lot of cost. So it's.
You do realize when the new game comes out, you are going to have to take a picture of you playing the game and then of you wearing your TIE pilot suit.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. Post that. Yeah, for sure.
No, I was going to say, I love being part of the 501st because you feel more part of the community than you did when you weren't part of the 501st because of. I will never forget that first time I wore my suit. And I turned to my left and I was walking right next to Darth Vader, a screen accurate Darth Vader, and me wearing my screen accurate Stormtrooper suit. It was like a dream. I was like, this is like
unreal.
I just wanted to time travel, back in time and just high five my younger self and be like, we did it. We walked next to Darth Vader. It was awesome. So
I think a lot of us we do this for our younger selves.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the reason why I do the podcast is because when I was younger, I was like, where are all the Star Wars podcasts? Why aren't there more people talking about Star Wars? I mean, it's back. Disney has it back, or Disney has it so they can bring it back. And now there's dozens of them. But
Right.
I mean, we're going strong. We're ranked pretty high. And yeah, it's a great time, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for today's edition of the podcast.
I agree.
We're 2 for 2. Sunday, now Monday.
Yep. I'll be very interested if anything else happens this week. I mean, it would be pretty cool, but at the same time, just like there's a lot dropped today, and it's Monday, so
yeah, galaxy shaking news. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be anything else, but I mean,
we'll see what happens. It's only Monday.
Yeah. All right. Well, may the force be with you all.
Always. Pew pew pew.